o'clock. Okay?
No, man, a long time that, man. We'll finish long before that.
All right, good.
Oh, we are live, gentlemen. I'm sorry. We are live.
Expecting a lot of fight from the guys. Obviously, guys relatively new to Test cricket, and they gotta show their worth to the world. Obviously, it's understandable, being the underdogs. But my thing for the guys, show the world, make the region proud, make West Indians proud.
Less than 3 months ago, or just about 3 months ago, the West Indies senior women team shocked the cricketing world when they defeated Australia in the second match of their T20 International Series down in Australia. West Indies senior men team now will be looking to do the same as they look to shock again the cricketing world as they seek to defeat Australia in this first test match. It is not an easy task. It is in all likelihood, it will never happen. But I take comfort from the confidence of the captain, who said that they are going to work hard and their in South Africa is to win, in Australia is to win the match. He went on further to say, I think it is very important for us to build that foundation and spend time. Make it easier for the guys to come. That's always the role of an opener. We will go there and fight hard. Kraigg Braithwaite speaking about his opening partner and himself. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. This afternoon, we have 3 guests with myself, Dwight Chateau, Andre Douglas, and Basil Butcher. We'll be taking you through the preview of this first test match. Before we hear from them, though, I just want to remind you of the Legend Weekend Celebrity Gala coming up Saturday at the Westin in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Now, this will be the 75th anniversary, the 75th birthday celebration of Lawrence Yagaro and the 50th anniversary of the 302 that he made against England at Kensington Oval in Barbados. Persons like Viv Richards, Joel Garner, Andy Roberts, Ramnawit Sarwan, Courtney Walsh, Johan Blake, Chris Gale, they all will be there. Yours truly, Carlton Brown, the Cricket Forum, will be there. Come on up down and join us. Only a few tickets remaining. The link is in the video description. The phone number is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. So you can get your tickets by any one of those options. Gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Afternoon, Carlton.
Yes, man. We have seen where the West Indies have named their 11. This is an unusual step for the West Indies to name their 11 so early. Usually, they would have waited until maybe an hour or half hour before the game, before they name their 11 at the toss. Starting with you, Basil, since you are the closest beside me, what are your thoughts on this 11?
Carlton, and no surprises. That was exactly the 11 I had chosen in conversation with a friend of mine called me yesterday, and that was the 11 that I gave to him. So I'm not surprised at all.
Okay, what about you, Dwight Chateau? What is your impression of this 11 that has been named?
Well, I seen the 11. That is the 11 that I suspected. Well, I thought that they would name, and that was the 11 that I was hoping them not to name. I don't want to get anybody to get excited. I don't think it's an awful team, but I would have made one change with respect to who is playing, and I would have made an adjustment with respect to the batting order.
Go ahead and elaborate.
Well, I personally don't believe McKenzie has been applying himself from the tour in South Africa, the 18 tour, and looking at him in this tour match, I don't think he's applying himself with the seriousness that I believe that he should have. And I would have selected Sinclair to come into the team. And because I think chances I get more out of Sinclair batting at 7 than I probably believe that I'm going to be able to get out of McKenzie batting at 3, just based on how he has looked for the last few games. All right.
Those are my exact sentiments when it came to Sinclair batting at 7. And it was not only McKenzie, but I said yesterday in picking my 11, I think I will get more out of Sinclair batting at 7 than what I would get out of either Chanderpaul or McKenzie batting at 2 and 3. And so I had Sinclair in my 11. Andre, what are your thoughts on that 11 that was selected?
Yeah, well, I had this very 11 that was selected, so I'm in total agreement with this particular 11. Sinclair, the thing about Sinclair is that, Australia can be graveyard for spinners. When I talk about overseas spinners. And although I think Sinclair is a pretty competent enough lower order batsman, I think that I would prefer to go with the recognized batsmen rather than pick bits and pieces or an all-round off spinner in the team.
Okay, I understand you, Sinclair. I understand you, Andre, but we have seen where Sinclair is making a lot of runs and he has this knack for taking wickets. Basil, do you have anything further to say on why you would have gone with this 11?
I think the 11 somewhat picked itself in terms of the roles these players were picked for, the selectors in choosing the squad. As I had said earlier, I would think that Roston Chase in this squad would give them more options than, say, Sinclair, because Roston Chase, whether Roston Chase in making runs and so on and so forth and all the different arguments, the last time we were in Australia, Roston Chase made a half century in the game where, in the second inning of the game, where we had to make 500 and something or something to win the game. He made a half century. Right, and so those are what you call hard runs, right? And Chase has shown over the years, despite his pedestrian record, he is a fighter. And as a bowler, in my view, he's a better off-spinning option than Sinclair. So that batting position that he could have filled with his experience would have been of more value, in my opinion, to the team than, say, a Sinclair.
What's your feedback on what Basil said, Dwight? What's your reaction?
I do not understand Basil. What comment on this thing? We have a regional tournament, and by and large, we say the players are required to perform in regional cricket, and out of that performance, we will make a selection regarding the senior team. Now, Chase got into this situation because he had not been performing well in the team. So Chase put himself on the block to be dropped. Okay? We had a regional tournament. Sinclair was a top 10 batsman in terms of runs that he got in that tournament. We had a week's Headley tournament thereafter. Sinclair performed well. We had a 3-match 18 tour to South Africa. Sinclair performed well again. How can you be asking cricketers to perform in regional cricket and you have a cricketer that perform in regional, that perform in week 70, that perform going off on an 18 tour to South Africa of all places, and then you turn around and say you're going to pick Chase, a failing batsman, instead of him? That makes no sense.
Basil, what do you have to say about that?
No, I made my point.
All right,
Chateau, number one, Chateau don't even understand the selection 101, right? Because Sinclair performed in the regional, was it outstanding? It wasn't outstanding. He made some scores in the A team. No, we have precedents. Cornwall was dominant in A team cricket. That translated to playing in Test cricket. Did it? No, it did not. So, and yet Cornwall was also dominant in our regional cricket, taking loads of wickets.
Right? Thank you, Basil. What do you have to say, Andre? Let's hear from you, Andre.
I mean, I have no issues with Sinclair being in the squad, but I just think that in Australia, I would not play two spinners in my team in Australia because, Sinclair, it's not like Sinclair is a big spinner of the ball. He's pretty steady, yes, but I don't think he will pose much of a threat to the Australian batters. Much better spinners have come into Australia and have not posed much of a threat. And I would think that with our frailties in our batting, I would go with the more recognized batsmen than playing a spinning all-rounder in the team.
And my opinion, I continue to stick to my opinion. Sinclair, I would not necessarily be playing Sinclair in this team so much for his bowling. I do think that he can get wickets because I always believe he just seemed to have this knack of picking up wickets. But the number one reason why I would have Sinclair in this playing 11, I genuinely believe that Sinclair can contribute more with the batting at number 7, than what either McKenzie or Chanderpaul may contribute batting at the top of the order. And that was my number one reason for having Sinclair in the side.
If I can say something else, if I can. Yeah. Andre, again, like Carlton, I'm not asking Sinclair to come in and be a lead spinner in the team. Moti is in the team for that already. That's why we have Moti in the team. We're talking about batting. And so far, Sinclair has outbatted McKenzie in regional cricket. Sinclair outbatted McKenzie on an 18 tour. The only thing that McKenzie has done is what he did in Weeks Headley. Sinclair outbatted McKenzie in the last tour game. All right. So really and truly, I would not look. I don't think McKenzie has done enough to command a place and to see himself as an established batsman in the side where we say that he's undroppable. I have concerns with him. I mean, he can chance that go out there this evening and make a century, and I'd be delighted. But how he has looked in several games, he has not looked good.
Thank you very much, Chateau.
Can I say something on that?
Okay, go ahead, Basil. I really need to move on to the next video, but go ahead.
Chateau is missing the point by a country mile. The selectors picked McKenzie for a specific reason, right? You looking at this tour match. This tour match was never going to determine, and you could see it. Stevie Wonder can see that. This tour match was not a determinant as to who was going to play this Forest Test. I will bet you that Forest Test team was already selected before that tour match. McKenzie was selected as a batsman. We haven't played any games, and yet still you want to throw him out the team. Let him play and let us see what he can do before you're talking about Sinclair as a batsman and using regional cricket as your barometer to take him out of the test team.
And 18 cricket.
Remember,
Sinclair bat down the order. Sinclair did not bat up the order to face the bowlers when they were at their best. So how are you making such a foolish...
I wasn't saying Sinclair should bat at 3. I wasn't saying that Sinclair should open and he should bat at 3 or 4.
Remember that McKenzie has 2 centuries against Bangladesh, at 80 and 90,
Right. You do not pick somebody as a bat to be a batsman to bat at 7. That is absolutely absurd.
Okay, gentlemen, let's take a listen to Kraigg Braithwaite in the next video here, where Kraigg Braithwaite is talking about what are the team's expectation, what are the team's plan for the series. This is Kraigg Braithwaite, the West Indies captain, speaking up.
But obviously the goal is to win. So we will go out there and aiming to get 20 wickets in a test match and bat well. But I just want to see fight for this team. We have a lot of young guys, and you can only get better. So show the fight here in Australia, #1 team, and it will set you for your career.
And Andre, let's start with you on this time. You heard what Kraigg Braithwaite is saying there, that the goal is to win, the objective is to fight hard. Is Kraigg Braithwaite onto something here, Andre?
I mean, we know that West Indies is behind 8 ball. You know that West Indies is really, really, you know, no one is expecting them to win or anything. But he cannot, as a captain, you have to have the confidence to say that, listen, we have to go there and play with a purpose, to win. You cannot roll over and die. So I agree, Kraigg Braithwaite is as positive as you can get, and I have no issues with his comment whatsoever. And I love for them, even if you don't win, go out there, play some positive cricket, and just give off your best. Give off your best and let us see that there's some growth right throughout the series.
Chateau?
I believe if you're going in a test match and you're looking to face the world champions, you have to be positive. You cannot have a mentality where you're just there to make up numbers and whatever will happen. And you came to Australia with 7 uncapped players, and you start in the game with 3 debutants. That is the wrong approach to take. And I think I'm hoping that Kraigg Braithwaite isn't just saying that. I think for us to do well, the team has to go out there with real belief that they are able to do well. Kraigg Braithwaite will play a huge part in that. We have seen Chandra Paul gone to Australia, and he has gotten scores as well. So we have it within us for us, if we are positive, if we go out there with the right mentality, for us to put in a performance. So I think what Kraigg Braithwaite is saying now is the sort of mentality that the team needs to adopt.
What about you, Basil? What do you think? And just adding to what Kraigg Braithwaite had said, Basil, do you think that the team should take an attacking, aggressive approach? Although, as I said yesterday, one of the things that I feared about West Indies team is when you tell them to be positive and attacking, they became reckless because they do not draw the line. So those two things, what Braithwaite said and my comments now, Basil, how do you react to those?
I think what Braithwaite said was apropos. Is along the same lines of my position with this team. So such an inexperienced team. I stated, for me, just like I heard what the captain said, I'm looking to see which one of the guys will show us signs that they belong at this level. How they play is going to be something we're going to observe. We would like for them to play positive cricket because you're not going to beat an Australian team going into a shell. You have to play positive cricket. And you have to go at the Australians or any other team, but more so the Australians. You'll have to go at them, right? So, but yes, there. And your point is, you made a fair point, Carlton. There would be a worry, obviously, because of the inexperience of these guys, that they understand that thin line between positive and reckless, right? And because of the lack of experience of most of the players on this team, that is something that would be of some concern. Hopefully, their batting coach, Mr. Jimmy Adams, and their mentor, Brian Lara, can translate their experiences to them as to how they can channel that positivity when they go against Australian bowling.
Sticking with you, Basil, there's a question from Valerie Orr on the screen there. And she's asking you, how can West Indies speak about building team with young players, and Basil is mentioning Chase? Wish them well. Pray for a miracle.
Wait, let me just respond to that person. You do not build a team with a bunch of greenbacks. It never happened in sports across the board. You always build a team with a combination of experience and young players, right? So you're never gonna throw out the whole water and bring a bunch of young players, because something people need to understand. The experienced players are the ones that give you tools. Those are the people that you as a young player will look at how to prepare. How when you get in situation, they're the ones that help you out more so than any coach. right?
Okay.
When you on the field, say you're a bowler, you got an experienced guy at mid-off. A coach can't help you. It's that experienced player could help you in a situation that you get into that you have no resource in your career to fall back on. So it's very important to have experienced players around. We can't throw out all of them.
Dwight, I realize you were laughing just now. Why were you laughing, Dwight?
Because I'm of the view that experience is necessary, but experience has to come along with competence for it to be of value. Having experience just because someone has been around for a long time, but he is not great at what he does, counts for very little in team building. Now, listen, I believe that that West Indies cricket made a mistake by not sending one or two experienced players on that 18 towards South Africa. I believe that was an error. Okay, I believe one of Blackwood, Chase, Bonner, having been dropped from the team or having considerations of dropping these players from the team, they should have sent them to South Africa to see how are they better options than Hodge. Is this a better option than McCaskey? Is this a better option than Sinclair? You know, I believe that decision should have been made on the cricket field to see who is better than who. But all in all, Chase has not been performing for some time, and I don't see how he measures up in the team building plan, the plan of building a better team and moving forward, if he doesn't have the requisite competence. Just having experience is not enough.
Andrea, I see that you're itching to go. Please, go ahead. I see you're itching to go.
As it relates to experience, you know, if I were to take out an experienced player, I would probably take out a guy like Blackwood, you know, because Blackwood in recent times, although his record has not been all that outstanding, but in recent times he has produced a few good scores, and Blackwood is used to batting in the top order. So, and I think Blackwood is one of the better players in terms of how he plays fast bowling. He's really not afraid of short pitch bowling or fast bowling. So if I were to take an experienced player, I think Blackwood, I'm a bit sorry that Blackwood missed out, because I think Blackwood could have helped in terms of his experience in the top order.
Okay, thank you very much, Andre. Once again, let's hear from the West Indies captain as he spoke about the strategy that they are going into this match with. Here is the West Indies captain, Kraigg Braithwaite.
I think especially early on, you could always get carried away as fast bowlers. Obviously in the Caribbean, we're not that accustomed. We don't see many pitches like this. So for young fast bowlers to come, you know, they get a bit excited and bowl a little shorter. But, you know, we were in discussions in terms of lengths. Obviously watching guys bowl here over the years, and we do agree, you know, a bit full is, especially early on in the ball. New ball will be quite crucial. So we got to utilize that and be disciplined. You know, that's a big word for us.
Okay, so there you have it, the West Indies captain there, just telling about the plan that they have for this match, how they are going to use the bowling. Let's start with you this time. Start with Basil in the past and Andre. So let's start with you now, Dwight.
I think the strategy with respect to the bowling is very, very critical for us doing well. The last time around, as I said, they bowled too short. The length was too short, and they were not very, very effective. And they need to pitch that ball up just a little bit more for them to challenge the Australian bowlers. Also, they need to challenge the wicket a bit more. As you know, in Australia, the batsmen play not just on the line, but they play on the length at the deliveries as well. So you'll see batsmen, even though the ball is in line with the wicket, they will let it go if they believe it's gonna bounce over the top of the stumps, and that happens a lot in Australia. And so we need our bowlers, both in terms of the length, in terms of pitching the top, and also attacking the stumps more. I think that's how they'll get better results. We looked in the Pakistan series, and I think this was mentioned, that a fella from Pakistan who did well, he was putting the ball up a bit more and attacking the stumps more. So I think that is critical to our success. The second thing, when it comes down to our turn to bat, I think it's not just enough to bat 120 overs, 130 overs, which is the plan that Andre Coley normally has for the side. That's what he has always said. He wants
By the way, Kraigg Braithwaite did say that in the interview that they wanted to bat 120 overs.
Oh, I didn't know that. But I know that Coley, historically, his plan is give me more than a day. Give me 115 to 130 overs. That is good and that is critical. However, it's equally important that they watch the run rate, because the tendency of this team to get in its shell and to produce a run rate of 2.2 will not cut it. You'll bat overs and still not have any runs to really challenge the Australians.
Okay, thank you. Basil, what do you want to say? Valerie is saying that Dwight is seeing things as it is. Is she correct, Basil?
I don't even know what she means by seeing things as it is. I mean, that's not even a clear point. I mean, she earlier said about building a team, and she is way off the frontier. She is like in the desert when she used the description of young team. Where in the history you ever build a team with young players? That is impossible. It don't happen in no sport. So her points are there is nothing to respond to.
Well, Basil, why are you laughing at the viewer? Come on,
No. I mean, here, the viewer, everybody got a right to the opinion, right? But I am stating fact. I'm not stating sentiments. You do not build a team with young players, only young players. You must have experienced players, because when they find themselves in a pickle, well, who they turn into for help? They can't turn to the coach. The coach is off the field. Right?
Andre, what are your views?
Well, my views, in terms of what Braithwaite said and his plans, I'm looking forward to see how much a guy like Joseph, that is Azar Joseph, he has learned on playing on Australian conditions, because we know that he has played. Azar Joseph, he's now an experienced player. So I'm looking forward to Azar Joseph and Kemar Roach leading the way and showing Shamar Joseph, how to bowl in Australian conditions. So and Morty now, I think that Morty will be assisted in terms of the bounce that he will get. And Morty is a bowler who attacks the stump. So I think, all in all, I think it is quite a balanced attack, and I expect them to do pretty well.
Okay.
If I may, let me say this again, Basil. The last time we had a situation where people questioned the experience of the players going off on tour was a tour, I believe, and Andre normally has the numbers. I think it was the Bangladesh, where that team had, I can't remember if there was some issues from what I remember, and a lot of the first choice players did not go on that tour. I think it had the COVID. Thanks, Andre. Yeah. COVID. And what came out of that tour was a batsman called Bonner. We can all say that he has faded off, but he still has a batting average of 38, and a lot of that came out. Some of that came out of what happened in Bangladesh. He was a find on that tour. Myers, the guy who made the double 1100 that gave us victory on that tour, was a find. Cornwall, I think, had was it a 10-wicket haul in one of the games. So we had new players coming to the fore, all right, in a situation where we had inexperienced players going on tour. So I don't think we should be looking to throw in experience for experience if it cannot be supported with the numbers. I've said already that I personally believe that I would have, Bravo straight up should have been on tour, because he did perform in regional. And I'm very annoyed that he turned down the call-up. But Blackwood and Bonner and Chase, they chanced one or two of them should have gone on an 18 tour for us to get a sense of them. But those guys, they are the reason they're not on the team. They have failed, okay? And I am eager to see one of these young bucks, whether it be Hodge or Greaves or Athens or McKenzie, to stick up their hands and to take advantage of this opportunity.
I think we're talking.
Yes, Basil, I was just about to say that I heard Dwight Shatu, but Bangladesh and Australia is two different kettle of fish.
Yeah, but
it was a tour in Bangladesh, and winning in Bangladesh at that time wasn't a walk in the park. I think Australia went to Bangladesh and lost. So let's not make it sound as if it was that easy.
And what I want to say, I think we're talking about two different things. What I was speaking about was building a team, which is a process over a period of time, not a single series like Bangladesh. I have no qualms. I have stated I want to see which one of these young guys are going to show us signs that they belong in Test cricket. And I think I'll tell you this, that is my biggest interest in watching this Test match. I am not even caring whether or not we win or not. Is more so to see which one of our guys put up their hands to show us that, look, we could play at this level. And more so the Test is a way step up here in Australia, in Australia than it was in Bangladesh. But still, you got to give the guys credit in Bangladesh. And I would point out to Chateau, despite the fact that Bonner had not played Test cricket, Bonner was a very experienced first-class cricketer. Unlike most of these guys in this team, their first-class numbers in terms of games played is very paltry, to say the least.
Okay, Basil, I was going to come to Andre, but you brought up a point about building a Test team. And when that question was put forward to the West Indies captain today, talking about what will happen to these players when the regular Test players come back, this was Braithwaite's response to that question.
They have a great opportunity here, to seal the deal and don't ever leave this Test team. They're here playing, and performance, is always important. So, I urge each player to go there and make a name for yourselves. Play Test cricket for the next 10 years. Simple.
Yeah. Do you agree with speaking there, listening to the West Indies captain? Let's start with you, Andre, because it was your turn to speak. What are your thoughts on what he just said?
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with the captain, Kraigg Braithwaite. Persons just need to go there, put up their hands and perform, because nobody game is really sealed. So if these guys go out and perform, I don't think it should be a case where the more experienced guys should just walk back in the team, because they opted out. So I don't think we're at that stage in West Indies cricket where guys say, they have a game based on experience. So as long as guys perform, if these guys perform, give them a run, So that is how I look at it.
Dwight, will your views, please?
I totally agree with the captain. The team is at a very delicate stage right now. And I used the Bangladesh tour, which again, I said that was an away tour. And at that time, our team was in a very delicate stage. At the time, the regular captain, I think, was Jason Holder, and Braithwaite went on that tour. We all saw something in Braithwaite that we hadn't seen in Holder, just better captaincy. Okay, and we came out of that thing, not giving back the job to Holder, but to say, whoa, we're seeing something here. And I think that's the same thing here. These players have the opportunity to stick their hand up and to take a claim, to make a claim for a place in the team. I don't think, maybe with the exception of Jason Holder, that there is any player who is not on this tour who is a walk-on back onto the side. And because of that, I think the players should see this as an opportunity, and if they perform well, they should be looking to stay claim to that place in the team.
Basil, you clearly have an agenda to build a new team. Do you agree with what Braithwaite said there?
100%, because that was my sentiments when they came back from Bangladesh. I have friends who still feel that Holder was wrong, and I said no. He needed to be kicked to the curb because he was a joke as a captain, right? But Braithwaite, Holder went to Bangladesh as captain previously, I think it was, he was captain, and we lost to Bangladesh. And now Braithwaite takes a team without all of some of these big guns, so-called big guns, and they go and beat Bangladesh 2-0 in Bangladesh. They got to continue. You have to continue on that trajectory. So I agree. These young players, this is a great opportunity for them to make a stake a claim in the West Indies team in the near future.
Sticking with you, Basil, there's a comment on the screen from Wayne Grudge. And he's saying we can't expect Chanda Paul to bat out of character. Presently, he's one of the best openers we have. I will accept him batting slow if he can survive the new ball and bat long into the innings. Your reaction to that comment, Basil?
Obviously, a player has to play to their strengths, but also part of playing to your strengths, you also got to learn, you have to improve other skills. And one of the skills Chanda Paul has to improve in Test cricket is getting off strike. That is paramount. You do not want a bowling Test cricket going at you 6 balls and over. You want to get off a strike. So that's an area of his game he needs to get in order. And that doesn't mean he has to step up and hit the ball and lash the ball around. He can work the ball around and get off strike.
What's your reaction, Chatu?
Well, number one, where this is concerned, you have to understand that Chanda Paul is fairly young in his career. And I wouldn't put the responsibility of the scoring on his shoulder. I'd be looking for his batting partner, Braithwaite, to be looking to be the one who from his greater experience, from his greater skill set, would be the more aggressive rather than asking Chanda Paul to step up. Secondly, I also think the issue that we have seen with Chanda Paul, or the slow batting rate, is that we know at the start of the game we asked for that sort of solidity. You know, we asked to see that solidity over the first hour. What the problem that we have is that these guys continue to bat slowly, even after they're set at the wicket, which we just don't understand. So between batting as a team and Braithwaite helping his partner out and helping to turn the strike over, helping to up the run rate, and also both of them as players growing in confidence as they bat and accelerating as their innings mature. That's what my expectation would be where this is concerned.
Yeah, and I believe, and I'm coming to you, Andre, especially you will start, because I know the video that I'm going to play next, which is a final video from the captain. I know you have a lot to say about it. But my reason is that the first hour in a test match belongs to the bowlers. You give them that. So if you are 10, 15, 20 without loss after the first hour, you give the bowlers the first hour in a test match. After that, though, you must be looking to accelerate. Nothing wrong with being 60 without loss at lunch. But when you come back out after lunch, you have to start stepping on it. As Athena is saying here, rotating strike and positive feeling can also be an issue. And I agree with that. Tyrell is saying that McKenzie and Athanaze will be aggressive in the middle. But it doesn't mean that Chanda Paul should be allowed to go too slowly at the top. Give them the first hour or even the first session up to lunch. But after lunch, we must get going. Let's listen to the captain again for the final time. That is Kraigg Braithwaite. Now, the issue of T20 cricket and Test cricket was posed to him, and probably he think that this can be solved. And here was what the West Indies captain have to say when that issue was raised with him in the interview.
Obviously in the Caribbean, we don't get, well, as West Indies, sorry, we don't get many test matches. That's one. So more test matches, would be great for us. Obviously last year we only had pretty much 6 games. I think if we get more, we play more cricket, I think that would help a lot. And obviously incentivizing test cricket is always great, because T20 cricket is out there, T10 cricket is out there, so it will always be tough. But I believe the more cricket we play, the better. And also for aspiring youngsters in the Caribbean, if we play test cricket and we as West Indians do well, they grow up seeing it, and that will help them inspire to want to play for West Indies. But if they don't see it, then they will inspire to want to play what they see, which is the T20s, T10s around the world.
Yes, Andre, your time now, Andre. What is your view on what the West Indies captain had just said there, Andre? What's your take on his comment?
Well, my take is this, I mean, he's saying that probably we need more test matches for the youngsters to be inspired to play for West Indies or to play test cricket. But my thing is this, I think that probably the youngsters will be more inspired if they continue to see more T20 games, more T20 internationals, because a lot of the youngsters these days, they're not as patient as before. They're not really into the long haul. They probably rather they have very short attention span, so they're really not excited about Test cricket anymore. So I think he's probably flogging a dead horse when he speaks about more Test matches. I really I don't see us getting to a point where we will have more Test matches in being played in the Caribbean, be played in South Africa, and, the lesser countries, so to speak.
So what evidence you have for that, Andre? What are the empirical data? Give me some numbers now why you say that the boys and girls, young people in the Caribbean are more interested in T20 than Test. What are the numbers that you have? Because sports is all about numbers. So without numbers, how did you draw your conclusion?
I mean, you would see a lot more persons without just the persons showing up at first class games. You don't see a lot of youngsters showing up at first class games or showing that level of excitement, so to speak. So on that evidence alone, you can say that we don't see that enthusiasm. If we were that enthusiastic about Test cricket, you'd see a lot more persons getting involved in cricket on a whole. But it is not there. The level of support, the level of the number of fans who come to cricket games is not there, as say 20, 25 years ago.
Do you want to continue? Do you want to react to what Andre is saying there?
I think, well, let me start by saying I totally agree with Braithwaite. I think we should be looking at playing more Test matches, not less Test matches. I think we need to protect what we have in Test matches and not allow the T20 franchise cricket to begin to overlap in the windows that we play Test cricket, create challenges in terms of us having our best players available for a Test cricket team. I don't think we should allow that. I think we need to put measures in place to protect Test cricket. So let me start by saying that. In saying that as well, by the way, I think it's absolutely important for us to do well in the store. We will not be able to move the needle and to get people to take notice of us needing to be given more Test matches unless we start winning Test matches and Test series. All right? Especially against big teams like England and India and Australia. So I definitely think that we shouldn't just be looking at competing. We should be looking to win these games so that they will take us seriously and look at giving us more games. The final thing I have to say is brand West Indies, the West Indies cricket brand, that brand from which we collected $78 million last year, that brand that we used to get broadcast rights deal is significantly built on what we have done in Test cricket. Us saying that we're going to leave Test cricket aside and look to play more T20 games and look to play more one-day matches would be a stupid decision from a business point of view.
Okay, your comment, Basil, on what the captain just said. And Basil, there's a question there too. After you're finished with what the captain said, I would like you to address that question.
Test cricket, to get young people into Test cricket, it starts at the club level. That's where all the values will be inculcated into the young players. Even the values of wanting, the desire, your primary goal is to play for the West Indies. All of that starts at the club level. And West Indies cricket across the region, or club cricket, is in a decrepit state, right? So those values have not been inculcated into young people about Test cricket. So what values are being inculcated at the club level today is playing T20 cricket and get the bling bling. So all the youngsters are focused on doing so. But they have a value because look, young people in Australia are just like young people in the Caribbean, or young people in England or India are just like young people here in the Caribbean. They're all young people. They're all in the social media and so on. But those youngsters are inculcated about Test cricket and representing their country at the lowest levels. And that is the burning desire that they have, that they want to play for their country in Test cricket, right? And that is part of the rebuilding process for West Indies cricket, to encourage young people to want to play Test cricket, because our greatest triumphs have been as a Test playing nation more than any one day situation and so on and so forth. And
Please
and
take the
what?
question. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the question. Look,
It is
what's the
too
difference?
specific, you know. It is
Yeah,
just
you
giving
said that
one
the question.
specific scenario. It does has any body to it, you know.
Yeah,
'Cause-
because what's the difference between 2.3 runs and 3 runs, right? I don't see going at 3 runs and over is taking a whole lot of risks that you would get bowled out in 60 overs. If you do get bowled out in 60 overs by trying batting at 3 runs and overs because you were an incompetent batting unit, is nothing to do with trying to be ultra aggressive. I mean, rotating the strike, getting off a strike. Because, I mean, let me just, for example, you're batting with a guy, and, you know, a bowler is giving you a rough time. Your job is to get off strike and go down at the other end. Let your partner take care of him, and vice versa. So I don't see the big difference between 2.3 and 3 runs.
It's really, that question really set a very low standard, a very low bar. I'm baffled by the question. The bar is so very low.
Yeah, 3 runs.
Yeah, the captain is right. Not enough Test matches, so the players have to look for the future. That's Julian Weeks. Now, Roddy's saying to you, Andre is wrong. During the weekdays, it's hard for kids and parents to go to cricket due to work and school. But on weekends, I've seen good support in Trinidad. And I think that he's referring there to red ball cricket. Now, Colin, yeah. So Colin is going back to a question that we have dealt with, and we need to wrap up quickly. So Andre, aren't you saying the same thing that Kraigg is saying? That's what John P. Nicol is asking.
Isn't that what will inspire to? Yeah, but I mean, even when we see, it's not just about seeing enough Test matches, you know. If the youngsters continue to see Test matches and we're losing, they're not being inspired, are they?
No.
You understand? So it's not just about playing Test matches for playing Test matches' sake, or seeing youngsters will get demotivated if they continue to see us playing matches and continue to lose. So if we are going to be playing matches, we have to be playing matches and we have to be winning, because youngsters are not inspired by winning, are not inspired by losing, rather. They're inspired by winning.
Do you have a question for Shatu? Go ahead. Just a minute. Let me get back to Basil. What are you saying? Yes, Basil, go ahead.
What I wanted to say that that our audience, in terms of spectator support of West Indies team in Test cricket, dwindled as we became an ordinary Test playing. We weren't winning. I could tell you this.
It is the same for the Reggae boys.
Yeah, I can tell you this for a sign, because I used to come back every year since in the 90s, late 80s, in the 90s. Every year I would come back to the Caribbean to see at least one Test match. And as the years went along, your crowds dwindled because we were not winning, right?
It's the same thing for every sport, Basil.
And all of this happened before the T20.
Oh, correct. I'm sure you have a question for Andre Shatu. What's that question?
You know, some of the times, and by the way, I totally endorse a couple of things that both Andre and Basil said Baz's point about building back that love for cricket at the grassroots level, and it is an important thing. I mean, these test matches, which are being played in Australia, they're being broadcast live on network free to air television in Australia. So that's a part of their whole mechanism of very small youngsters growing up wanting to play test cricket and represent their country, and basking in the adulation of fans filling up the MCG or Adelaide. All right. Also, Andre said something very, very significant. And that's why I keep saying it's not just enough for us to play. You must win. Because if your team is losing all the time, people will become discouraged. But I have a question for you, of course, Andre. Andre, when you describe this situation that we need chances are to look at T20, which you shouldn't be looking at seriously playing more test cricket. What is your feeling about test cricket?
I mean, honestly, I'm going to be very frank with you. Honestly, I think that as I said to you, I mean, on previous media, that I think the horse has bolted in terms of the ICC has allowed for the T20 game to really be, I mean, to have taken away from the lesser nations in terms of the talent, in terms of test cricket, you know. So you have a big disparity in which the Australia, India, England, they are the ones who have played majority of test cricket, and the lesser nations are not playing much. Look at a team like South Africa. South Africa have so many competent. I mean, it's a very decent test playing nation, very decent team, and they are not even playing as many games as West Indies. They are not even playing as many games as Bangladesh. So it's very difficult now to control. I just don't see the way in how you're going to inspire youngsters to want to play test cricket when they are not seeing enough.
So Andre, the question I'm asking you, you do not possess the cognitive skills to see a solution to the challenge in front of you.
You know why it's such a difficult task?
No, I'm asking you for a solution, and I don't want you to tell me the challenge. It is well documented. Give me an idea of a solution.
I mean, honestly, I can't give a solution right at the top of my head. You know why? It is such a very difficult.
So wait,
you know why I'm saying this is so difficult? Because
thank you very much, Andre. Thank you very much, Andre. Basil, go ahead, Basil.
All right. Let me just say this. I have a client, what I do for a living. She is Palestinian and her husband is Jewish. And many years ago, because their son just turned 18, that's how long she's been with me. Because shortly after her son was born, and she started working with me.
We have 7 minutes to go, and we want to get to something.
They were going to. No, I just want to show you about the young, how a game presented to young people. These are Americans. Nothing to do with cricket. They were going to Barbados, and they had a British friend who would come into them, who is a cricket fan. So I said to them, when you guys are in Barbados, England will be playing West Indies in 2 ODIs. They went to one of the games. Their son must have been about 3 or 4 at the time. The youngster had such a time of his life at this 50-over game. They had to buy a cricket kit to bring back to the United States, but he had no outlet to continue with the game. But just to show you that here was a youngster, no connection to cricket, and because of his experience of being at the cricket game, and this is 50 overs, he was so enthralled. So it says to me, if you present this game, test cricket included, to young people in the right frame of mind, they will be excited. I will end with this. I coached an American girl. White American girl was part of my women's team. She learned, she first got interested in cricket. In college, she had some British friends, the 2005 Ashes. Test cricket. We going to Atlanta driving to go to play a women's tournament. And England was playing somebody and she on the phone looking at test cricket. An American. So this notion that young people, it is how we present it to them, and we're not doing that to young people at the grassroots.
Dwight, go ahead, please.
Boy, I totally agree that it's down to how you present and how you try to change the game. We have seen it in other sports. We have seen it in cricket itself. We cannot take a mentality that the horses were already bolted. In baseball, for example, they thought they were losing audience and they thought the game was becoming boring. And you saw them implementing more changes to the game, including a time clock that batters take to hit. We saw England coming out with baseball, and we have seen the interest growing in England in terms of just from them playing more positively and all of that. We cannot take the stance that the horse was already bolted, because to take such a stance would be to hasten the speed at which we kill off Test cricket here in the Caribbean, and would basically be cutting off our nose to spite our face.
And I would want to add to this quickly, Carlton. If you have more exciting cricketers playing Test cricket, people will come out to see Test cricket. Right now, look at the West Indies, for example. We haven't produced an exciting player. Even when West Indies was losing, I would go to see them play because Brian Lara was playing.
That is so very much true. Now,
Basil,
yes.
Let me just say this before Carlton come in. Poran, I have not more to say.
Yes.
I've been wanting to see Mr. Puran at that level, but he seems to want to shy away.
True. Well, the West Indies under-19 match, warm-up match today between Nepal and the West Indies. Nepal won the toss, asked West Indies to bat first. The West Indies were 33 for 1 after 10 overs, but then rain came and washed out the match, as it did for most of the match. But on Friday, although the West Indies is playing tonight, the senior team, the under-19 World Cup starts on Friday, and West Indies will play their first match against South Africa. The match starts at 3 a.m. Jamaica time. Now, this is something that is really disturbing, and I want the panel to respond to this. News came today because the Headley Cup cricket, that's the schoolboy cricket in Jamaica, not only the Headley Cup is the rural cricket for those who are not in Jamaica, and the Grey Shield is the urban cricket, so that is like for the Kingston schools. News came today that the Headley Cup, the schoolboy cricket competition that should have started today, did not start because of a lack of sufficient entries. This is shocking, and it is really, really very disturbing to hear that the schoolboy cricket season that should have started today in Jamaica did not start. I've been trying to get persons to comment on it. No one wants to comment on it. So the only thing I can say, it did not start. Andre, coming to you first, what's your reaction to that situation?
I think that, I guess, I don't know, probably Jamaica more than, Jamaica, it seems to be, we have gotten a few things wrong in terms of our cricket, and we have not done well, apart from, say, the under-19 championship that we won. I think that we need to get back, the love for cricket in Jamaica, or to get more youngsters playing cricket, and because this is quite disturbing, this is the first I'm seeing something like this. So it is not good news at all. And I really hope that it will be resolved quite quickly, and for youngsters to be playing some cricket as quickly as possible.
I will come to you finally, Shatu, because you're a Jamaican. So let's hear from the Guyanese first on this.
Here, at least you guys got a school competition. They have not played school cricket in Guyana in probably over 30 years. Right, so at least y'all have a competition. So and this is a problem across the region in many areas where school cricket is another foundation of West Indies cricket that needs to be addressed in a real serious manner, because we all know is in school we first develop that interest in the sport, and then if we want to get serious as we finish in school or while we're still in school, we go and join a club. And if you don't have that element there of the youngsters playing the game in school, we behind the 8 ball. In Australia, these kids are playing the game at 4 and 5 and 6 years old, starting off. And now we don't have, how are we going to continue to compete?
Okay, Andre, Dwight, what's your views? This is serious, man.
This is very serious. This is very, very unfortunate news that we're hearing coming through. And I'm absolutely dismayed by all of this. You see, a lot of the times we keep talking that there's this thing between T20 franchise versus Test cricketer. That's where the issue is. And what we need to recognize is that there is an equally important fight to just play cricket and to have structures in place that encourages cricket. Cricket is a part of our culture, you know, just the same way American football and baseball is a part of American culture. Cricket is a part of it's not just a mere entertainment. It's not just a way of life. A pathway in terms of an economic future. It is a part of our culture, and this makes me more than anything else point a finger at the administration. We know that funds are sent from Cricket West Indies to every single territory. And I think what should be happening now is in light of this is greater scrutiny needs to be made as to how those funds are being spent. At the very least, we should be able to put together a high school cricket competition. That should be non-negotiable.
Should we be looking, gentlemen, at the principals also? Because in my gut feeling, as someone who is in cricket and understand what is going on in the Jamaican landscape, if you should check the schools in Jamaica right now, you would find that probably about 75% of them have some cricket gears tucked away somewhere, leaving to be dry rotten. Also, when boys are playing cricket, and we know this, they tend to get their own personal gears somehow. So is it a lack of effort on the part of the principals also? Is it a lack of effort on the part of ISA also? They might ask about finance, but they send out the netball team, they send out the basketball team. Is it more expensive for the cricket team to travel than the other teams and so on? Is it more expensive than the cricket team to travel than the football team? Because I don't buy this argument that the gears, there's a lot of gears and gears are too expensive. I buy it. Right back to you, Dwight. Let's start with you and go through. We have very few time left, so we hope we can do this.
Sorry, I didn't hear the question. Repeat.
I was asking about should we be placing more scrutiny on the principals?
I mean, principals are an important part. Schools and principals are an important partner in all of this. But I don't believe there is a principal out there that if they have gears would not want to encourage boys to take up a sporting activity. I find that very hard. Most schools believe that sports is a way to assist in terms of discipline, is a way to build morale. So I think principals would be pretty much on board. If I think what we need to find out is what is the program that the JCA has to be reaching out to these school principals, to be inviting them into meetings, to be notifying them and updating them and finding out if there are issues, and if there are issues, working with them to solve those issues. Okay. That is what I would think that we should do. We shouldn't be turning up today and saying, oh, we don't have enough entries. If we are serious about our cricket, there should have been a lot of stages before this where we are testing the temperature and finding out if there are issues and working with principals.
Basil, what's your take on it?
Yeah, leadership in the school systems, leadership in the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Sports. So, because as Chateau correctly stated, you would have been taking inquiry as to, are they playing cricket in the school? Why are they not? If they're not, why are they not playing cricket? What support would you need, etc. Right? Not wait until you name the competition to start and schools not entry because probably they don't have a cricket team because they're not playing any cricket.
The Supernova is saying that there's some more Dulwich CWI drama is about to go down. I wonder if Dulwich is on his way to Australia. Very, very interesting there, Supernova. But this one is for you, Andre. This one is from Wayne Grudge, Andre. That's a question on the screen there. He's saying, the cricket board is investing in players, and T20 franchise and players are gaining the rewards. That is a bad business model. It will lead to a poor test team.
Yes, well, I'm in agreement with that. You know, it will lead to a poor test team. And the thing is that, but
what about the first part where the cricket board is investing in these players and we, the people of the Caribbean, are not getting the reward from that investment? Is that fair?
But then again, would you consider a lot of these players who play T20 cricket for the West Indies or the white ball version, they don't necessarily play test cricket? You know,
we are asking about who invested in them for them to be available to play T20 cricket. Who invested in them?
No, the West Indies. But wouldn't you say that West Indies get some return from them playing in the white ball version?
No, the return that the West Indies get from them is minuscule. And let's hear why.
In what sense? Because they get return. West Indies have invested in players, and we have rewards in terms of winning 2 T20 championships. You know, so we have to kind of go on the days when we
just a minute, Andre. So after those 2 T20 championships, did West Indies stop investing in the players?
Yeah, but what I'm saying, West Indies investing in them, don't they get the return in terms of the white ball version? Because
tell me about the return. I do not quantify the return that West Indies get in proportion to the investment. In direct proportion to the investment, quantify that return.
That's what I'm doing. I'm quantifying the return because those players, I cannot say that West Indies don't get the return in investing in persons like, say, Puran and the likes of Powell. Because
so make up your mind, Andre, you are saying that West Indies get the return, and now you are saying that you cannot say that West Indies get the return? Make up your mind exactly what you are saying.
I'm saying to you, I cannot say that the West Indies have not gotten the return from investing in the players.
And I'm asking you to quantify that return in direct proportion to the investment in relationship to the investment that West Indies put in them. Quantify it for me, please.
That's what I'm doing. I'm saying to you that West Indies have gotten their due return in terms of those who have been invested in terms of the white ball version. They have indeed repaid West Indies, right?
Quantify that repayment. I'm saying quantify. That's the bottom line word enough. Quantify. Don't qualify the repayment. Quantify it.
If I may.
I'll get back to that another time. Let's hear from Dwight Chatu.
Yeah. If I may. I don't know why Andre is running around the topic. The last time I looked at the CWI's financial statement and we're crunching some numbers, we found that over a 5-year period, they were losing at least $30 million based on what they're investing in these players. They're investing in their regional tournaments. They're investing in 18 tours and training and academy and all of those things in coaching and everything. They're investing massively. And at the end of the day, what they generally have to show for it are players running away to go and play in some leagues, and they're getting back some release fees from, I think, only from the IPL. And they're basically leaking around $13 million over a 5-year period. What we're seeing is that it is the norm for players to be unavailable. So why did CWI invest in them? Why would CWI spend years investing in Myers and King and Poran for them now to turn around and to tell us, oh, we're unavailable? Myers says, I don't want to play Test cricket anymore. My King says, oh, this ODI thing, I'm not available. And this is now happening where even players who are on central contracts are now deciding that they will play T20 cricket instead of coming and play it for the West Indies. What on earth is going on? That's bad business.
Basil?
I agree with the issue of if you noted West Indies did a paper, and where they proposed one of the things, the number of players must be capped per team in these franchise leagues. Number two, there must be a monetary fee paid back to the home cricket boards. Player goes to play in these professional leagues, right? The IPL, to my knowledge, is the only league that where a team pays something like 10% of what the player's salary back to their home board. I think it needs to be more than that, more than 10%, right? It should be a larger, because of the investment that goes through from a player from under age group cricket all the way up to the Test team. I mean, it was estimated, they did a paper on this many years. This was in the early 2000s when Tony Howard was there.
30 seconds, Basil.
Yeah, I think, and it was somewhere close to over $1 million per player from under 15 to the international team.
Andre, you have some comments now that you have gained your composure, and here's some supporting comments from Blair Boyd to you, Andre. And Blair Boyd is saying that those guys don't know what they're saying, Andre, because West Indies have won 2 T20 Champions Trophy competition. Away from Lloyd, the other players, them winning nothing. You guys is only envious. I try to understand what he's saying here, but that is some support to you. But do you have a comment? 30 seconds, Andre.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would agree that West Indies would have lost in terms financially, that some players, the amount of money invested in terms of players, right? I would agree with that statement that, yeah, they would have lost in that sense, but they would have gotten some return, though, from some of these players that they would have invested in terms of the white ball version. But overall, I think that they would have lost, and they do need to do something about players who are actually contracted and not available when they are needed. They need to do something about that. That needs to be rectified. And just to go back about the school situation quickly, I think, part of the problem, it has to do with both Issa and the principals. For one, I don't think the principals are that enthusiastic about cricket as they are about, say, football and track and field, because the cricket doesn't give them the sort of highlight to their school as, say, the winning the track or the winning football, and they don't get the gate receipt.
I don't cut you, Andre, but that's why I said, does the netball give them that highlight? Does the basketball give them that highlight? Does the hockey give them that highlight? There are so many other sports that they are playing that doesn't give them that highlight.
Yeah, but I know that even some schools, they struggle to feel, and it's to feel as a netball. Well, we know that netball is not as an expensive a sport as cricket, for one. But even in terms of Issa, though, I don't think at Issa they are as enthusiastic about cricket, because they don't get receipt as, say, football or track and field. So the both principals and Issa can do some more in getting cricket out there. Cricket to be played in schools.
I personally do not think that the cricket is as expensive to play as the principals are making out to be. I know Dwight Chattu had said he doesn't really believe that principal have gears tucked away, but I'm telling you, Chattu, they do. There are some of them, they have gears tucked away. And as I said, most of these guys, when they start playing cricket, they get their individual gears. So the gears is not such a big factor on the school. There's no greater expense to the school than participating in any other sport. Now, Dwight, I don't know what's wrong with Blair Boyd, but Blair Boyd believes that we are envious of these guys for their money. That cannot be further from the truth. It's two different things here, Dwight.
I don't understand the comment itself.
Right.
Everything that we're seeing here, what we see in terms of player development through emerging players on under 12 and under 15 and under 19 tournaments, of having an academy, of having players play regional tournament, of sending money back to the regional board so that they can organize club cricket and all of that. All of that thing that then presents a platform for these players to present themselves to the world is funded on the back of the cricket that West Indies plays internationally. All right? Why would I want to benefit from that system? And then when the West Indies turn around and say, hey, I want you to come and play some international cricket so that we can get funds, so that another generation of cricketers will have that platform available to them. There is no sponsor for regional cricket. Regional cricket, 4-day cricket, is sponsored entirely out of the pocket of West Indies cricket. So why would I want to come in, use the system, benefit from the system, play T20 cricket, and give back not one red cent? I would, in effect, be contributing to the demise of the system. I would be having a youngster. I saw Fabian Allen. I think it's a baby girl he had. Congrats. There's women's cricket now. Why should a Fabian Allen come through and not be thinking of giving back so that his daughter, if she would like to have a cricket in the future, could do that? I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense.
Yes, and Mr. Casanova is making a point here that I've said it on a number of occasions. There are few footballers in England like Raheem Sterling and what's the other one named Bailey. But generally speaking, what a cricketer in Jamaica make on average is more than what any other sports person in Jamaica, except for a few, like for the football. For example, on the field of cricket, what Andre Russell earned from cricket is what Usain Bolt is more than what Usain Bolt earned from appearance fee in track and field. Usain Bolt earned more money than Russell because of his endorsement. But on the field of play, Russell earned more than Bolt. Gentlemen,
Carlton, I just want to end with to say this one. I heard Chris Darren say in Jamaica there was a list of the top earning sportsmen, the top 5, and the top 5, the 4 of them were cricketers, which many Jamaicans don't even know who these people are, and that they're making these kind of money.
All right, Basil, now that I have you on the screen, say what do you expect from the match tonight? What is your prediction? 30 seconds each of you have. So go ahead, Basil.
My hope, I want to see what our guys can. I just want to see our guys compete. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see us being blown away. I want to see us compete.
Okay, thank you very much, Basil. Andre, Jason Humphrey have a comment on the screen there, but 30 seconds. Give us your final comment and react to Jason Humphrey, please.
Yes, I really hope that West Indies will go there and fight. I hope that they'll go there and apply themselves and just let us see how well they will they'll be facing the mighty Australians. So I really hope, and I'm expecting them to apply themselves and just give off their best.
Okay. Chateau, the final word to you, sir.
I'm very much looking forward to this series. I'm very, very excited about this series. This is against the world champions. And my expectation is for the guys to be looking to surprise the Australians and to show the Australians that they belong and that we are relevant. I think we should go into this match with all that we have seen about questions about what is happening in the Caribbean and that if this team is a competent enough team. I think we should have an attitude and a chip on our shoulder, and we should be looking to prove to the Australians that we are way better than they expect.
Yes. The match will be shown live on a number of digital interface. This is digital platform. It really depends on which one you subscribe to. It will not be on YouTube, however, but it will be shown live on a number of platforms. I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank the live audience. You have been very great, and I appreciate your company. But remember, please join me on Saturday evening at the Westin in Fort Lauderdale. Lawrence Rowe, Andy Roberts, Viv Richards, Sarwan Gale, you and Blake, as we were talking about track and field just now. We all will be there. Come down. The link is in the video description where you can get your ticket, or the number is scrolling across the screen. Until then, take care of yourself and take care of your loved ones. Bye for now.